Right. Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Welcome to the what is this event? Let's just have a look at our PowerPoints. It is mentoring teacher research in a time of COVID-19, and Asla and I are very happy to see you all here. This is part of the International Festival of Teacher Research in ELT. Do you want to say a few words about the festival, Asla?
Apologies, I was working on the breakout room. You're all welcome, ladies and gents. It's lovely to see you. We've been very privileged to, meet different teacher researchers and mentees all around the world during this international festival, teacher festival. And today we're going to have a session with the mentees, and we're looking forward to it. Our final event is going to be on in December, and Richard and I we're going to be sharing the links and the website in the chat all through this event as well. And that's all from me, Richard.
Okay. Thanks, Asla. So let's just move on and have a look at this. This is, I hope you've all received a link and you've been able to download our program or have a look at our program. If you haven't, then you can see the program by following this link at the top. And also, so this is all about mentoring teacher research, especially in the time relating to this time of pandemic of COVID-19. And as you watch, maybe we'd invite you to look at a questionnaire which is below and to fill it out maybe by the time we finish. So we're going to finish in about 3.5 hours. Hope that some of you at least will be able to stay with us for that long. But if you can't stay that long, even maybe if you could fill it out and submit it. It's not for research. It's simply for for feedback for the presenters, but also for us as organizers, for how we could improve the event in the future, this kind of event, and for you to help you reflect to keep you awake as you listen to the presentations. But this is not only going to be listening. We're going to have very short presentations with a lot of opportunity in breakout rooms to interact. So this is an interactive, participant-centered event, we hope. Oh yeah, so I'm going to begin, if that's okay, with talking about the event that this is, because it's kind of my event with mentors that have been in the group that I've been leading. So this is my event in the international festival, if you like, to report on some work that I and of course the mentors and their teachers have been doing. So I thought I would spend about 20 minutes, maybe, and then we have a break for perhaps 5 minutes, and start the presentations in about 25 minutes. But because I don't think I'll talk for this long, but you never know. Maybe we could have some questions and answers. So what I'm going to focus on is how did we get to today's event, which is, as I said, it's focusing on mentoring teacher research, not usually something that we have events about. In fact, I don't know. I think this is maybe the first event about focusing on mentoring teacher research. So there is going backwards. There is some history to report on, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with two programs: the Champion Teachers program in Latin America, and the ARMS program in South Asia, India, and Nepal. And this is how I became interested in the issue of mentoring, how we can facilitate teacher research as mentors. So it's quite a specialized interest, but I think it's becoming more and more important or of interest. And the fact that you are here today shows that you are interested. So back in 2013, I was the coordinator of the IATEFL Research Special Interest Group, and I was lucky to be invited to Chile by the British Council to lead a kind of program, a new program that they wanted to set up to engage or encourage secondary school teachers in quite difficult circumstances, quite large classes of 40 or more students, very busy teachers, lots and lots of classes in their very packed timetable, to engage in action research. And I have an interest in helping teachers, supporting teachers who are working in quite difficult circumstances in countries of what we nowadays often call global south, but of course that's many, many different countries in the world. But it is where the majority of English teaching goes on in the world. But researchers haven't really helped supported teachers very much, I think, to cope with the particular problems that they have. And in fact, the British Council in Chile realized that the kind of teacher training that they were offering was workshops and experts telling teachers how they should be teaching wasn't really working for the conditions that teachers were facing. So I was interested to do this because I didn't think there had been enough programs helping teachers to cope with their problems in such circumstances. Also, I knew from my background, my experience, that teacher research, which is teachers doing research themselves, teachers initiating research into their classrooms, that can be a very empowering and useful activity. It was in my experience as a teacher, and I had experience of doing that with student teachers. But I was very interested. But I didn't want to bring in something that would be an extra burden for teachers who are already very busy. And so the kind of action research that I proposed was involved a lot of exploration before any plan for action. It involved helping teachers to come up with questions which relate to the problems that they were facing, to narrow down to one problem and maybe develop some exploratory questions, and to research in a way which would not interfere with their teaching. So you might say, well, that's like exploratory practice, and you're right, it's maybe got some similarities. But it was an action research program. The British Council wanted the teachers to do action research. So the next stage was going to be that they would plan some change, plan some improvement, and evaluate the change. That's why we call it exploratory action research. Because most teachers did go on to, after their exploration, to do action research. And you can see the numbers, quite a large number of teachers were reached, and it has carried on. It's still carrying on in Mexico. And over these 7 or 8 years, actually from very, very early on, we realized that it was important that the mentors, and there were 4 mentors in the first year. This was the very first year. 4 mentors for about 40 teachers, and each mentor was quite busy with 10 teachers each, which I think is probably too many. But we realized that it was best if the mentors had themselves been secondary school teachers, if the mentors had experienced the same teaching conditions as the teachers. And the following year and the years after, the mentors were not university teachers, they were former secondary school teachers, they were Chilean, they were people often who had gone through the program. And with Paula Ribeiro, you can see in the middle, she emphasized this very strongly as she took over coordination of the program. And it was an important development. Now, I should say that, so the Chilean mentors, actually, when Peru began the program, they were mentored by Chilean mentors. And when Mexico began the program, there were some Peruvian mentors who had been champion teachers. So this was a very good development in terms of local appropriateness. And that's when I first sort of started thinking or supporting mentors. And so as that program expanded, you see, we had to think about how to support mentors, or how to orient or instruct or kind of encourage mentors to do their job when they hadn't been mentors before. Anyway, out of all of this experience, we developed a handbook for teachers. Now, if you aren't somebody, if you are here and you haven't done teacher research before yourself, of course I would recommend this book because I wrote it with Paula. And this is where we put all of our experience of showing teachers how they could do exploratory action research. We put into this handbook, which we tried to write in a very down-to-earth way, because that was our approach to show teachers that they could do research. We needed to not use a lot of jargon. We needed to go step by step, and we're still very proud of this book. It's free, of course, from the British Council website. Well, today we're not really focusing on the teachers doing research. We're focusing on the mentoring side. So I was involved with the Champion Teachers Programme for about 2 years, and then it was taken over by local mentors, including Paula Ribeiro. But I was involved from 2017 onwards in a new programme in India, starting in India and then moving to Nepal. And I took the exploratory action research approach, and we used it there as well. So by this time, I was realizing this approach did seem to be quite suitable for teachers in difficult circumstances, which many teachers in India and Nepal also face: large classes, lack of technology, etc. Very busy schedules. But this program was different. This was a program to what's the word? to help support mentors, the development of mentors, people who hadn't mentored teacher research before, because this is a new kind of identity for teacher educators, but maybe they were teachers, some of them were teachers who were interested in becoming a mentor of teacher research. That's what we're focusing on, not just being a mentor for teachers, but being a mentor of teacher research, someone who can motivate teachers to do teacher research, who can then support them through the process. So the target here was mentors. I think the first year there were about 9 different mentors in different parts of India, and they each had a group of teachers. And together with Amal Padwad in India, we were called the super mentors. Well, we are not superheroes, but we were called super mentors because we were showing mentors what they could do to mentor their groups. So we were directly in touch with the mentors. Okay, so this is where my experience grew of how to help mentors. And it was a 12-month scheme each year, started in 2017. And as you see, the aim was to empower mentors to support teachers to investigate their classrooms. And altogether, I think many of you here maybe have gone through this program. We worked with 70 mentors, so you could see we were developing a whole group of people, mentors of teacher research. At the same time, it seems a good idea in 2017 to start up a festival of teacher research, and there were lots of events in this festival online, and you can see that in March 2018 there was the final festival of the India Arms program. But we also ended up with so again we've tried this time there was a sense of people connecting across countries, people who are interested in supporting teacher research, coming together and showcasing the work of teachers in different contexts. The last event was a discussion, and I remember that something I said and other people were saying was, if we feel that we want to expand teacher research in the world, then we need to focus on how to develop mentors, how to bring on more mentors. Here you can see photographs of the different groups in Nepal, each led by a different mentor, and this was where my experience was largely. I was the super mentor with Amal for the first year in India, but then for 3 years in a row I was doing that job in Nepal on my own, and with great mentors and great groups of teachers. Out of this experience I wrote this book for the British Council in India. It was their idea that we should have a handbook to help mentors. So this is a handbook for mentoring teacher research, and all my experience of how to guide mentors has gone into this book. So I'll leave that there just a little while longer. So in case you want to access this book, because that's, well, from my point of view, that's where my experience has gone into this book. Again, it's hopefully quite written in quite a practical, down-to-earth way. So by 2020, that's when the book came out, or just before 2020, I was thinking, oh, we've got mentors in Latin America, in India, Nepal. Wouldn't it be good to build a community of teacher research mentors? As I said, this is a new kind of identity developing, new kind of role for certain teacher educators. And it would be good to share experiences. So this is the second part of what I'm talking about, is moving towards building an international community of teacher research mentors where we can share experience, where we can further develop ideas about how to mentor, how to facilitate or mentor teacher research, because it's quite a new area for reflection and for research. So one thing we did was set up a Facebook group. And you're very welcome to join this Facebook group. And this is where, because you're all interested in the notion of mentoring teacher research. Probably many of you already are members, but if you're not, please do join this group. And we can share some news about different events. I also set up a website, and developing this website around, this was around the time of the handbook, so I was also trying to publicize the handbook on this website, but there's also news of other things, like this was a very important event, I think, the Electronic Village Online, EVO for short. It runs every year, January and February. TESOL Association runs this. This is how I first met Asla, quite a few years ago, when Kenna invited me to join them doing the EVO for teachers. And every year there is EVO for teachers to get to learn about teacher research. And now Mariana, who will join us later, and Ruben, who will join us, they are now coordinating that same EVO. But with Seden, who's here, Seden from Turkey, Seden Tuyan, we decided to have a new EVO about mentoring for people who are interested in becoming mentors. Maybe teachers who've done teacher research, maybe teacher educators who think they'd like to get involved in this. Anyway, we ran that in January to February, not 2021, that's a mistake, 2020. It's a very important mistake, because this was just before the pandemic began. It lasted for about 5 weeks. We are going to do it again, we've decided, in January, February next year, 2022. 147 people registered from around the world, and we took them through 5 weeks where based on this book, based on the ideas in this book, it was not a course, it's a kind of course, but it's kind of also trying to develop a community. And we thought, well, we will build on that, and we will get together, we will have meetings together. But then the pandemic happened. That's why it's important it was 2020, not 2021. In 2020, I mean, really, all of us were in confusion, weren't we? And so we didn't follow up in the way we wanted, or the way we thought. In fact, I was wondering, really, is exploratory action research at all feasible with people with so many burdens at the moment? I was invited to do some webinars on teaching difficult circumstances, and I did suggest that maybe teacher research might be a good way of addressing problems, even in the pandemic, but I wasn't doing anything to take that forward, except with Seden and with Eli Bekesh from Ecuador and Mariana Serra from Argentina. We did have some meetings together, just wondering if we were going to mentor teachers, how should we do that? And we developed this idea of enhancement mentoring, which means building on the positives that were emerging at that time and the kind of successes that people were having. And I know that Seden has taken that further forward with Mariana, and they will be reporting on something they've been doing in that line in Turkey. But together with Ursula, we thought as we came through the pandemic, we haven't obviously reached the end, but in 2021 we were thinking maybe let's have the festival again to give a kind of sense of hope for teachers and for mentors of teacher research. Maybe this will give some kind of stimulus. So we thought we would repeat the festival, and I had the idea in my mind of a conference that we could run in December at the end of 2021, and that could be a good goal, a good aim for teachers to present on teacher research. That's why I also thought we could start a mentoring support group for some of those teachers who'd been through the EVO and who we were planning to follow up with, but we hadn't followed up with. So to build this community, but also with the goal in mind of maybe mentoring a group of teachers to present at the December conference, and that conference will happen next month. It's still not too late to register to see those teachers. As I said, we did develop a kind of different kind of approach to mentoring. I'm not going to talk about that now, but it's an interesting idea that instead of focusing on problems as the starting point for teacher research, we can sometimes start with success, and that's what we were focusing on in this approach, and in developing it in 2020, and we reported on it at a webinar in 2021. So the festival, as I said, has been going on. We've been having some interesting events, haven't we, Esther? Including teachers from Africa, from Brazil, teachers who have been doing teacher research during the pandemic, with all the difficulties, but finding it useful. So today's event is part of this festival. And the last event will be that conference I just mentioned, where teachers will present on the research they've been doing. Now, let me focus on this mentoring teacher research support initiative, which means the meetings of the group from May onwards, monthly meetings. And these are the mentors who will be talking to you today. So we advertised it for former participants in the EVO for mentoring teacher research. They met monthly. We had monthly meeting on Zoom from May until this one. 52 people registered from countries ranging from Peru to Cameroon to Nepal to Japan. Average, I think about 30 to 40 participated. And so these were people who had already mentored teacher research, often from the ARMS program or sometimes from the Champion Teachers program, but also others who had become interested through the EVO. And the focus, as I said, was towards mentoring teachers towards possible presentations at the conference next month. So what did we do each week? This was the plan. So I made a plan based on chapters in the book. I'm not going to talk about what's in my book, but you can see from this, because these are some crucial areas for mentors to think about: how to get started, planning a timeline, communications, and record keeping. That would be the topic of the May meeting. And that would be when we would encourage the mentors to start to think, who are you going to mentor towards the conference? The June meeting was helping teachers to select a topic, and we imagined that the mentors would be doing that at the same time or soon after that meeting with their group of teachers, but also guiding teachers to develop research questions. And I encouraged people to read the chapter if they didn't know it beforehand. But it wasn't a course. It looks like a syllabus or a course, but as I'll show you in a minute, it was more like an opportunity or stimulus for discussion. July, preparing teachers to collect data. August, supporting teachers to analyze data. We didn't have a meeting in August. It's the summer holiday in Britain, Northern Hemisphere. September, supporting teachers to start to do action research, plan and evaluate change. October, we talked about how teachers might present their findings in posters, etc. And then we were going to have a just general discussion and reflection at this meeting, but we thought, actually, why not share more widely some of the experiences that mentors have been going through? So instead of that, we're having this meeting today. And we will have the conference in December for the teachers. Okay. So we also had a forum. We used a forum using groups.io to share experiences and questions between the monthly meetings. The monthly meeting turned out to be like this, usually 90 minutes. There will be a topic and stimulus from the handbook, the ones I've just shown you. But then I didn't really give much input. Occasionally I gave a few PowerPoints, but not much input. It's really a stimulus for that topic of that month. Then discussion in breakout rooms. I think this is what was most popular and very, very interesting for mentors across the world to come together in a breakout room. We just pressed a button and everybody went in randomly into a breakout room, and they could share experiences of mentoring together for a lot of the time, maybe 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Then reporting back from each group about the discussions. And I found it, I think participants found it very, very interesting and enlightening. So that was what we did, and that's what takes us to today's event. I'd like to thank Abdullah Al-Rawahi and Zening Yang, who've been helping with organizing these events, and that's been possible because of this grant that I've received from my university. So I just need to acknowledge that as well. I think we are going to hear from the presenters. That brings us to almost time, really. I'm going to share the program now. I wonder if there was any question. I don't know. Was there any questions coming up at all in the chat? You're very welcome to put any questions in the chat or to send them to me directly. I think would it be right to find the program now? I'll do that, Asa. Let me see. Google. Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do. So I hope that all of you have got the program now, because that will enable you to look at the program when you want to. And we'll show you again later how to get there, how to get to the program. But what we're going to do is to go through presenter by presenter. So we've just had the opening remarks, and we've just had me giving an overview of the scheme. And we're going to hear from different participants in the mentoring group who have mentored teachers this year, or even maybe starting last year, towards presenting at the conference, which is next in December. But they're going to be reflecting on their experiences of being mentors, of facilitating teacher research. Actually, the last event in the festival was Ravi from Bangalore, sharing. Introducing some of his teachers. He's got so many teachers that he has mentored. And we're going to start with Ravi. Is Ravi there? Are you there, Ravi?
Yeah. Yes, okay.
That's great. So I'm going to just share the program again, and when I've done that, we could begin with your. So peer mentoring and online teacher education, Ravi.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. Yeah, it was great understanding the background and the history of doing exploratory action research, mentoring teacher researchers. It was wonderful, actually. Thank you so much, Richard. And as Richard has said, I work in a teacher education institute called the Regional Institute of English, South India, Bangalore. And this is where we normally conduct face-to-face teacher training programs. It's for about a month. Teachers stay on campus and they attend the training program for 1 full month. And in a face-to-face program, earlier I used to teach writing, but now I focus on exploratory action research. But I wouldn't call it mentoring teacher research in the real sense. When it happens in the face-to-face mode, I generally facilitate teachers to do exploratory action research. So I give them some input on exploratory action research based on Richard's handbook on EAR. And then they generally work on their own. It's an individual kind of work that they do. They don't get to discuss in groups. They don't get to share their research questions, data, etc., etc. They collect data from their students, from their colleagues, and other stakeholders. They try to analyze, and then they present their research reports towards the end of the training program. But it's more or less done individually. So whereas during the pandemic, we had to deliver this teacher education program online. And that's the theme for today's conference also, how I mentored teacher researchers online. Online training is also for 30 days. And I begin by giving some input on exploratory action research. And then I divide them into small groups of 8 to 10 teachers. So they start working in groups. And that's where real mentoring begins, in fact. In the peer group, each one will get opportunities to mentor others and also to act as mentees. So they play the role of mentors as well as mentees. I think that's a very good thing that happens online. They meet regularly. They share their research topic, research questions, the kind of data they collected, and how to go about analyzing and then writing a report. I also get to share resources like the handbook and then also the book on mentoring teacher research by Richard again. And so they mentor each other. They share their success stories, they share their classroom problems, and then they report back. I mainly work with so-called group leaders or group facilitators who create links and conduct peer mentoring sessions online. And then I think this is not an individual activity, unlike how it is done in a face-to-face mode. They work collaboratively. That's the main difference. So it's a kind of collaborative, though they work on different research topics, but the work is done collaboratively. And they get to read sample chapters, sample reports, exploratory action research reports, discuss them in groups and prepare their own reports and share it during peer mentoring sessions and then make their final presentation. So they get a lot of time, in fact. In a face-to-face program, just 1 month, they go back and then they get busy with their classroom teaching. Whereas since this is happening online, they continue their work and they're really motivated to do action research. So when it is done in a face-to-face manner, they end up doing only exploratory research. Only those teachers who are really, really motivated continue and do action research, but the number is very few. Whereas when this happens online, many of them are encouraged, I don't know, they are motivated to do action research. So they go back to their students and then do action research and so present their action research report also. They share their action research report on blogs. They create blogs, they create Google sites, they send reports by email, and they also, some of them send it using Google Forms.
So Ravi,
yeah, that's right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes.
Ravi.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Ravi.
Yeah.
So interesting that you're saying that action research is more, happens more since the online thing started. That's very interesting. Now, thank you, Ravi. I forgot to say to everybody that we'll just have very short presentations, just 4 minutes or so. And generally, I forgot to time you, but I'll time everybody, and I'm afraid when the bell rings, you've got to stop, just like we do with the teachers. So the point is that everybody, you're going to have a chance to talk with Ravi in a breakout room later, and we'll have freely. You can go to the breakout room you would like to. So if you're interested in what Ravi was saying, you can go to that breakout room and talk more with Ravi. Let's go straight to our next presenter. Thanks, Ravi, who will be. If I can do this, and you can see more things from Ravi's Padlet, which is you can access through the program. Revati, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you well.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Thank you, Richard. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the presenters and participants from different time zones. I'm happy to share my e-mentoring experience with you. My mentoring journey started in 2019 with ARMS project. Thanks to Dr. Ravi and Dr. Santosh, their training and guidance at every stage helped me to mentor 4 school teachers and assist them in their use of teaching strategies and classroom-based research, which was conducted in 2 different academic disciplines. And in that process, we were able to develop our professional skills also. And after doing this, I gained confidence and take up technology enhanced mentoring. And I must thank Richard for giving me this opportunity. In this mentoring process, I used technology at every stage of mentoring. I used Edmodo, the learning management platform, for initiating the teacher research. And then I shared resources and articles with the teacher researchers, and I integrated 2 other tools like Google Document and Google Slides. Google Sheets with the which I integrated in the Edmodo platform. And I used Google Meet and Zoom for conducting training and even conducting periodic meetings with the teacher researchers. I used WhatsApp facility and mobile for providing clarifications and support to the teacher researchers now and then. Now, if you click on the next one, Edmodo learning platform, and that is the one which I had created for the teacher researchers. And if you move on to the next one, the Google document, which the teachers actually had shared with me through Edmodo. They had actually shared their observations, their reflections, and their data with me, and I could offer my feedback to them. I actually help them in analyzing the data online. And if you move on to the next one, that is the, you will find a telephonic conversation that I had with one of the mentees, with the teacher researchers while analyzing his data. And you will also find a lesson plan which was shared by one of the teacher researchers with me through Edmodo. Now, if I have to when I focus on the opportunities that I actually, I should say both the teacher researchers and I had the opportunity to use a lot of technology in this process. As I said earlier, I was able to train my teachers by using Edmodo and a few other tools which I had used for assisting the teacher researchers. And the teacher researchers also had the opportunity to use Google Document and Google Sheet for sharing their timeline, reflections, observations, and so on with me. And I was able to give them feedback. And if you look at the challenges that I had, I would like to point out, this is the timeline that they had shared with me. And the challenges that I had faced, I had to coordinate with the teachers online throughout. And at times I was not able to do that because of the workload that the teacher researchers had. Actually, I had mentored 2 teacher researchers, and one of them is working at the middle school level, and the other teacher researcher is from an university, and she's teaching at the tertiary level. And because of the workload, I was not able to coordinate with them online. Similarly, I had created small group in Edmodo, but then they were not able to have discussions online, again, due to the workload that they had. And we also had connectivity issues now and then.
I'm sorry, Ravati, that's the time.
Okay.
Time is up. Yeah, we're being very strict.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you, Richard. Yeah. Bye.
Thanks very much. So it's interesting, if you'd like to talk with Ravati about these tools, online tools that she's been using, it's very, very interesting. So Neela, are you there? Neela? Neela, is she there? Are you there? Maybe not. If you are there, just could you unmute your microphone? If not, I'll ask again at the end, and we'll move on to Vinaya. Are you there, Vinaya?
Yes, yes, no, I'm.
Ah, Neela. Is that Neela? Okay. So Neela, over to you.
So a very warm greetings to Dr. Richard, Asli, LZ ma'am, super mentors, co-mentors, teacher researchers. I'm Neela Madhavi, serving at a little class Nalgonda for 3 decades. It was in Louisiana that I first got this mug that you see in the first picture, on which was written, "I'm a teacher, what is your superpower?" I really felt powerful as a teacher. And so all of us are here today. We have the power to build magic in our classrooms. Coming to mentoring, as one of the senior most teachers in my school, I've been guiding and helping in small ways, but mentoring never, I had never done it even once. This COVID has got me in touch with ELTA, and it is they who introduced me to Richard Smith's enhancement mentoring program. It was for the first time that I knew what mentoring was all about. And they, ELTA also gave me the opportunity of connecting with the Hornby project. And I'm right now mentoring the Hornby project. And I have 7 teacher researchers under my fold. Thanks to Richard Smith for this enhancement mentoring program, and also for including me in the group Mentoring Teacher Researchers 2021. And as a mentor, I believe that a research culture is very important. Whenever they hear the word research, there's some kind of an anxiety or an intimidating feeling. So I believe that there are 7 steps to mentoring to develop an EIR culture. The 7 steps, they represent the 7 letters of the word culture. So the first thing is connect to COP. So I would say that the best comes out of us when we are with the best people, making the best practices. So it was wonderful to connect with. I saw that all my partners, the mentees, they connected with ELTA, with the EVO that Richard Sir has provided for us, and all the sessions. And the next thing is, it is very important to understand the context and the students. So you see, it is important to understand, because in order to know what worked, what didn't, and what we are unsure of, it is very important to connect to the context and students, and that would be more relevant to our students. Next, L stands for literature for awareness. And we have 2 wonderful books. The practical books are the most useful books by Richard Smith. And together, me and the mentees, we explored a handbook of exploratory action research. And you can see in the pictures here how each of the teacher researchers came out with each chapter. We had sessions. Initially, we had the first 2 chapters on the Zoom, but then I didn't just want to know the literature, I wanted to know them personally. So I invited them home for a dinner, and together we also had sessions. And then I also went to Warangal, where we had the orientation program of the mentors. And I also saw that my teacher researchers also go to Warangal for the second orientation. So all this was pretty useful. And I also gave a session on mentoring from the book of Richards, Mentoring Teachers to Research Their Classrooms. All this proved very helpful to me, given the fact that I am mentoring for the first. And then if you come to U, it is about culture. L is over, and then T. T is to tune in our time and to use our techniques and talent in order to work out. And ultimately, U is for the understanding of. Oh, I'm sorry. So U is for utilization of resources. I'm sorry about the typos there. It is about utilization of the resources. Here, on account of COVID, our team has made use of Google Forms, Google Meet, Google Classrooms, WhatsApp initially, and to get teachers, students, and parents' perceptions. And later in the action phase, they used Talk App, Educandy, Edpuzzle, Pinterest, and other learning apps in order to enhance speaking skill. And finally, E is to empower for the ripples. So now that our teacher researchers are all having the research culture, they are now creating ripples.
Thank you.
Surely mentoring is a win-win strategy for me and for my mentees and the community. Thank you, Richard. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
Neela.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. You packed a lot into your 4 minutes. Well done. And you could see how interesting the Padlet is. And you can talk with Neela more about the Telangana project and about what she is doing. But then we also have Vinaya, who's leading the Telangana project. So, Vinaya, are you with us now?
Yeah.
Great. Over to you.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. And this is Vinay Raju from Telangana. I'm working as a secondary grade school teacher in Telangana state government. And I'm also working as a general secretary of English Language Teachers Association Telangana, ELTA. It's a community of practice, or it's like a subject forum we created in our state. We have all the district headquarters, all the 30 districts, we have an ELTA body. So we have been attending all the action research programs since 2015. That is EVO Action Research course conducted by the Richard. Then I joined the ARMS project in 2018 under the mentorship of this Santosh and this Richards and the Amol are the super mentors by that time. And next to 2018, and I was the mentor from the ARMS British Council program. And there are 5 teachers from the Telangana, they are the mentees. So after completing that again, and we applied for the teacher association, Handbook Teacher Association project on behalf of ELTA Telangana, and we got that. So under this program, and we have co-mentors, because already there are teachers from the Telangana who have attended the EVO mentoring course and also the action research course. So we have picked them, those teachers, and made a list of all those teachers, and we asked them to act as a mentor. Even our ARMS teachers, researchers also become a mentors here. So during our program, we mentored almost, there are 5 super mentors and 10 mentors and the 50 teacher researchers. So Neela is also one of our mentors. So there you will find that there are 1 or 2 mentors presentations in this, and also on the December 10th and 11th, our 30 teacher researchers are going to make their presentation. So this is the journey of the ELTA, and we also attended the Richards Enhancement Mentoring Program last year during COVID time. So all our mentors are also the part of that. So that gained the knowledge for our teachers to mentor, how to mentor the teacher research and all other things. So this is about ELTA and our activities. So this is my poster that I have created. Let me open up this. So our project objectives is to exploratory action research, and the second objective is to make the teachers aware of why, what, and how of an exploratory action research. And the third objective is to networking with the teachers in the other districts. So helping the teachers to make the connections for the continuous professional development, and providing an opportunity to build the community of the practice. So because of this COVID-19, so most of the teachers have started using technology. So this technology helped us to connect with all the teachers throughout the state. So this project also made us our connection to be a meaningful. So we involved all the teachers from the different districts to participate in this project. So we formed a large group of active teachers. So 50 teacher researchers, 10 mentors, and 5 super mentors like that. So we are all working together. So before starting this project, we framed a timeline for this November, December, what are the activities that we have to do, then January, February, and the May to October. So every time we have given opportunity for the mentors to read the mentoring book, and they have made a presentations on chapter wise. So that helped the other mentors to check whatever the chapters there in the mentoring book. Then they started mentoring the teacher researchers. So we have given the teacher researchers are also presentations at every stage. First phase, after completing the exploration, and they gave a presentation. After collecting data, analyzing, and they gave a presentation. So then we gave them a feedback also. So these are the things that we did, and mostly we have used the technology, Google Docs, Google Forms, video making, and WhatsApp discussions, Zoom presentations, digital posters, video-based feedback. This is the one thing that we have done during this pandemic time. After giving the presentation, the mentor will record the video and they will give the feedback by recording the screen. So this is the one new aspect that we have introduced. Thank you all. Thank you, Parthiv.
Yeah, thanks, Vinaya. It's a very big and sorry, I just have to stop that. Stop this. It's a really big and interesting project that you're leading, coordinating, and I realize how difficult it is to talk about it all within 4 minutes. But you all have a chance to talk more with Vinaya, and he's provided a lot of materials to discuss there on his Padlet. So thanks so much, Vinaya. It's been very impressive.
Thank
Very
you.
impressive.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to Manjusha. Are you there, Manjusha, and Jayashri?
Yes.
Great. Over to you.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening. This is Manjusha Sagre from Maharashtra, India. How I developed my mentoring skill. Even I am also part of EVO sessions since 1915, and then I joined INET, All India Network of English Association, and have been working under the guidance of Dr. Amol Padwad sir. And this is the beginning of my journey. Then I joined PR mentoring program with Dr. Richard Smith sir, and then myself and Jayashri Jangle, we are working for EMAR Maharashtra, means Enhancing Mentoring for Action Research Project. This is in progress since couple of years. Teachers from primary, secondary, and higher secondary are members. This project aims at mentoring others for action research and exploratory research. At initial stage, we organize orientation sessions with Dr. Richard Smith sir, Mariana and Ruben Mazhi, Vinedhar Raju sir, and Ravi Chakrakodi sir. Teacher researchers presented their work at the end of the year. They shared their challenges, success stories, and classroom-based experiences. And this is our Padlet. 25 members are there, but in conference, only 6 members are presenting their work. Now I would like to hand over this experience with Jayashri Jangle.
Hello, good evening. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Anyway, okay, thank you. I am Jayashri.
Okay. Jayashri, I'll stop the video of Jayashri. Maybe we could hear her then. Let's see. So, Manjusha, unfortunately we can't hear Jayashri. Could you take over, do you think?
Yes, Jayashri, hello. Jayashri is a co-mentoring, and she is working with a group of 25 higher secondary teachers. She has created her work in slides, and yes, enhancing mentoring for action research. She motivated her teachers on WhatsApp group and in pair and group work, and she created the Google Classroom, Padlet, and WhatsApp group for her teachers. And these are the links which we together have organized. The orientation program, webinars, all these are the evidences of our work. And she has shared here the challenges, precision and specification in the finalizing the research question. She faced with this problem for the finalizing the research questions, and she referred the handbook and deciding the area tools and the type of data collection, which type of data, how to collect the data. She faced these challenges, and teacher researchers also face the problem over the analyzing the data, and effect of the demotivational factors, means all higher secondary teachers are there, and they feel that there is no success, no any promotion for the action research work, or no. So they all are demotivated and for doing the participating in this program. And the observations and conclusions, the teacher remain open to all sort of responses. Teachers could help the students to be more creative during the period of the exploratory research. Though the problems are the same, solutions differ as per the situation, and exploration is the more apt method to search the solutions of the pedagogical problem. These
Okay,
are her,
thank you.
yes, thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much, Manjusha. Unfortunately, we couldn't hear from Jayashree, but maybe we can talk to Jayashree in the breakout room. And if you're interested, you'll be able to talk to Manjusha and Jayashree about their impressive program in Maharashtra, which also, like in Telangana, involves quite a lot of teachers and mentors. So thanks, Manjusha. Thank you. And where are we now? Yes, we are coming to the last one before we go into breakout rooms, and this will be Vanita and Anna from Spain. So this is a collaboration across continents.
Hi,
Vanita,
Richard.
Anna,
Good
hello.
evening, everyone. Thank you, Richard, for giving us this opportunity to share our mentoring experience. And I'm going to focus on what are some of the benefits and I think opportunities, from this collaborative partnership. So talking about the benefits, I think I got exposed to an entirely new perspective, that Anna brought in, especially in supporting teachers. Probably, in her art of delivering, feedback to the teachers, and her being an empathetic listener, and also the way she asked questions to the teachers and made them reflect. One of the benefits was how we fully utilized, all the channels of online communication, whether it's the WhatsApp, email, conducting Zoom meetings to co-plan, discuss, and conduct sessions, and supporting teachers. I think Google Doc was a collaborative tool, wherein we also track the progress of teachers and gave feedback to each other. And we also tend to, co-share the responsibilities and the roles in terms of evaluating the progress made by the teachers. And Anna was always, agreeing to be a note taker, and used to always share the key discussion pointers after every meeting. I'm going to ask Anna to share some of the challenges that we faced. Anna.
Okay. I'm quite interested because I think I'm the outsider here. I'm after what Richard said at the beginning, I'm not the same nationality as the mentees. There's no local appropriateness. So I'm an outsider, and that was a challenge, I think, as well as a strength. So some of the challenges actually have been mentioned by a couple of other people here. Ravati mentioned things like connectivity was a challenge. The time difference for us was a challenge because Spain to India at the moment is 4.5 hours. I found using WhatsApp as a means of communication in a group a real challenge, but it was something that I became used to. So challenges can become strengths. Anyway, back over to Vanita, who's going to talk about.
So we got the opportunity to mentor 8 teachers from India, and that too working in different school setups. So I think co-mentoring was a great CPD opportunity for us because we get to work as a team and gain our knowledge, skills, and attitudes. There was good scope, for productive discussions, mainly how to ensure maximum participation, from the teachers, how to motivate them, and how to get to listen to those teachers, who always had connectivity issues. And last but not the least, we were solid, we provided solid rock support to each other, whether it be emotional support, technical support, and academic support in terms of, supporting teachers and also each other. Let's look at some of the lessons learned. Over to you, Anna.
Okay, so that's the last slide. These are suggestions. I'm not sure. So agreeing on a timetable, we used the timetable for the meetings with the mentoring group as a guidance for the timetable with the teachers. Perhaps we should have had that timetable set out beforehand. I'm not sure. I came into the group late, so Vanita and I didn't really have a chance to set things up together. Vanita is very energetic, really motivated. She'd set up the group already on her own. So I came in a bit late then. And I think perhaps the biggest challenge, or the thing I think, is evaluating how teachers are getting on. How do you know that they're doing the things they've agreed to do, and how well are they getting on? And it's quite difficult to do that, especially online. Especially online.
You have been muted, Anna.
Sorry, Anna.
Okay.
That's okay. It's
Sorry,
on the
that's my
slide. It's all on the slide.
It's okay. It's okay.
Anyway,
Finish.
thank you.
Finish what you wanted to say. I'm sorry, that was my
No,
fault.
well, I was saying that evaluation is a challenge. I think it must be for everybody, because it's very difficult to know.
Yeah, sorry about that.
You've
Okay.
muted the wrong person. Yeah.
I know. That's what happened.
That's all right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. So thanks so much. Thanks so much, Anna and Vanita. We just need to mute the person there. I know. I've got it. Okay. Right. Sorry about the interruption. So I'm just going to go to gallery view. So thanks so much, Anna and Vanita, and sorry about the interruption. That was really interesting though, because you came together through the mentoring group. That's Anna and Vanita, and you are kind of symbolic actually of the community. And also co-mentoring is a very interesting area. Supporting one another as mentors, and thank you for the lessons that you drew from that. Now, we've had some very interesting, I think, tasters. We asked each mentor to just talk for 4 minutes, because we want to leave time now for you to interact with the speakers. And we're going to do this in breakout rooms. And just to explain a little bit of guidance, in a minute, Asla is going to show you the names of the different speakers. And of course, the speakers should go to their own room, because you are the important people. You can unmute your microphone and be ready for people to come and visit you in the room. So all of you, I think I'd better go back just quickly, just to make sure that all of you have got the program, because it's quite important that you have the program open yourself. Remember the program that I've been showing, so that, because the mentor, we advise you not to share your Padlet in the breakout room, and actually we advise everybody to switch on your cameras if you can, in a kind of gallery view, so that you can actually see each other and you can interact. So so from experience last time, we advise that you don't share the screen, don't share your Padlet as the presenter, because you're not going to give a presentation. But we advise everybody who's visiting to have a look at the Padlet or the poster, and you can do that by clicking on the links in the program. So we hope you've all got the program. And right, so participants, we want you to be asking questions. We want you to be making comments, but please don't expect a presentation. That's how we can make it interactive. So the presenters, the mentors, are just going to wait for you to switch on your microphone and to ask them some questions or some comments. And it's good if you are looking at the program at the same time, at the Padlet. So do switch on your cameras, but switch off your microphones when you're not speaking, and put up your hand or just speak if you want to speak. So you can look at the poster via your program, and you can move from room to room freely, and it's your choice which room you go to. We're not forcing you to go to any room. So there's the reminder of the program. I didn't need to go all the way back. To go when we say the breakout rooms are ready, on your you can see different icons, can't you? Like the mute, microphone, the camera. One of those icons is breakout room. It's 4 squares, and you'll be able to see the list if you click on that, I think, in a minute. Another thing I forgot to say is to go into a room, you see the name of the presenter, and to the right of the name, you'll be able to click on something which then there's a number. It's a number of people in that room. If you click on that, you'll be able to enter the room. Do please distribute yourselves according to, if you see that nobody is speaking to a particular mentor, please go and speak to them, so you can maybe see how many are with each person. I hope that's okay. And Asta, are we ready to go and visit the mentors? Asta, are you you're muted?
Yes, we are. They're
Okay, great.
open.
Okay, so if you click on the breakout room icon, you should be able to see a list. Yes, I can see. But Asta, I can see. Yeah, down at the bottom of the list, you can see names of presenters, and you'll go to the room that you want to join, and you can move anytime. How long have we got, Asta? Till? Do you remember?
Let me check the program.
Yeah.
So we've got nearly 50 minutes.
Oh, 50 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes. Yes,
Oh,
until
40
the
minutes.
break, nearly 40 minutes.
Great. So we'll call everybody back when it's time.
Yeah, and we will be here if you have any
Yeah.
questions about
Yeah.
any technical issues.
That's right. I'll just go and visit a few rooms just to see what's happening.
Sure.
Asa. Yeah.
Could I be guided to the breakout rooms?
Sure. And who is that? Who
Neela Madhavi.
Neela Madhavi.
Yeah, the presenter, one of the presenters.
Yeah. Just a second. You were one of the presenters?
Yes.
Neela, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So you should be.
Okay, welcome back. I think everyone's back here now. That's fantastic. So we hope that you had a good experience, and we should have said this is a kind of a way of doing an event, which we started with Ravi's presentation last time, and we're going to try to do the conference with teachers in the same way. So very short presentations, followed by and with posters on a program that you can access yourself, and with in a Padlet, for example, or poster, and then give as much time as we can for interaction in breakout rooms where you are free to visit the rooms. So that's a kind of style that we are practicing still. Seems to have worked okay, but we have a break in about 17 minutes. So we have about 15 minutes just to reflect on that experience. From the point of view of a participant, what you felt you gained from talking with the mentor, or from hearing a mentor, or any issues that you'd like to discuss, but also from the point of view of the presenters, the mentors. So I'll start with the mentors, because one reason to do this is that mentors can get feedback, and if we're just giving a presentation for 20 minutes, we often go over time, and we don't have enough time really for questions or for feedback. I always think if I give a presentation, oh, it's frustrating, I didn't leave enough time for feedback. So how was it for your mentors? Let's just ask the mentors from the first half. Ravi, how about you?
Yeah, thanks, Richard.
reflection.
I think it's actually the breakout room, the discussion that we have had opened up many new areas for me to think. I think it really triggered my own thinking. There were questions related to, say I did it in an in-service teacher training context. So someone asked, how do you relate it to a pre-service teacher education course? How can we develop a structured curriculum for doing exploratory action research in a pre-service context? That was a good question. I started thinking about it. And how was the feedback received by the teacher researchers? Were there any instances of teachers reacting to positive or negative feedback? What was the reaction like? Since it was done online, I didn't get much time to focus on feedback part. How I think I should analyze how feedback was received by the teacher researchers. And then why should they do extra work? This research is an extra work for, what is the motivation? Somebody asked. I think motivation, I said it is the genuineness. If they're genuine, if the classroom problem is real, a genuine problem, then they'll naturally feel motivated. And then if it is done collaboratively rather than individually, I think that is another motivation factor. And then are they motivated to do academic research? Do they stop with classroom-based research, or are some teachers interested to take it forward and do academic research? That was also an interesting question.
All of them are things to take forward and maybe to research as a mentor. Thanks, Ravi. Let's ask Revati for her any reflections from her session from her. Revati?
Yes, Richard. The participants were asking me about the way I had used the tools, the number of tools that I had used, and how I was able to coordinate with the teacher researchers online totally, because I had never met my teacher researchers in this entire process. So they were asking me how I could manage. So I had to tell them how it was done. And one of the questions that the participants asked was, how did you help them to analyze the data? So then I had to, I told them that I started with the Zoom meeting, and I had shared those slides with the teacher researchers in Edmodo, and we had discussions, and I had to make them work in the Google documents, and we had to collaborate. So I had to show them how coding could be done and how to arrive at the themes. And finally, even at the time of analysis of the, and then the findings, particularly arriving at the findings, I had to help give them the online support by talking to them over the phone, by having those data, the data right in front of them. So this is how I had to explain.
Great.
So these are the questions that they were asking.
Great. So it gave you opportunity to explain a bit more about the tools that you were using and online tools. And yeah, I mean, from Ravi and from Revati, we heard actually how, although COVID forced us to use online tools, actually there seem to have been some advantages in some ways, of course. Okay. In terms of the okay. Neela, how about over to you, Neela?
Yeah, actually, they were asking me what was one happy moment that you had in the entire teacher research. So I said that was when one of the teacher researchers, in the beginning, as I said, it was intimidating, and they were saying, you have done academic research, so ma'am, it is easy for you, but for us, it is not so easy. I said, it's got nothing to do with academic research. All we need to do is just explore the book, Handbook on Exploratory Action Research. I only saw that they went through it. I made each one take one chapter. And ultimately, at the end of the day, after a few sessions, there was one, Mr. Mohammed Asman, who said, we are no longer aliens to action research. So that was one happy moment. So that book was really a practical handbook. And then the other thing was, how were you able to connect and sustain with your teacher researchers for such a long time? So I said, wherever I found, be it Manjusha's Maharashtra our team giving lessons on action research, or be it the EVO, or be it Richard Smith's, or wherever there was a link, I would immediately post that link in the WhatsApp group, asking them to watch it at their own leisure. And that connect, getting them home. So all this worked wonderfully well. And they are very zealous. The main thing is each one of them are very zealous. The ELTA has provided so many opportunities to learn ICT tools. So that sustained their interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that was a happy moment for me when you told me about the way they like the book. But that's also a very interesting thing that has happened in the pandemic, isn't it? That we have been watching so many different things online from different places, and this has happened within this community, that a lot of things have been put online. Well, festival is one thing, but I know that Maharashtra and Telangana have been cooperating, and Ruben and Mariana from Argentina collaborating with Maharashtra. Very interesting collaborations going on during
We
the
have seen
pandemic.
Janak Singh's as well.
Oh yes, Janak from Nepal. Yeah. So
And even Rama Matthews.
yes, Rama from India. Yeah. Well, okay. Thank you very much, Neela. Again, something about online collaboration happening during the pandemic, and motivation. All of these things are issues for mentoring that are coming up, and some of us have found some interesting solutions, or some of them are just remain as questions. How can we sustain motivation of teachers, or how can we interest teachers? That came up in what you're saying, Neela. Manjusha, oh no, sorry, Vinaya, who the Telangana, same place.
Good evening. So the question that I was whether is there any plan to document the success stories of these teachers? Because Telangana, we are working with almost 50 teachers, but I am not. Yeah.
Not audible.
So Vinaya, it's quite difficult to hear you, but I think you said, is there any plan to sort of write a report about Telangana project?
Is there any plan to document the success stories of the teacher researchers? Is it okay now?
Yes, better, much better. Go on.
Hello.
Yes, much better. Go.
Yeah. So this is the question. So we are already told the teacher researchers to document the progress of their work. So they are doing, and everybody have their own Google Doc, and they are putting everything, even evidences, photos, videos, links, and PPTs, and also their reflections. So in future, we are going to convert that one into a chapter. So everyone will write a one chapter, so that we are planning to publish a book also after the end of this project.
Okay.
So another question.
Yeah. Sorry, that's great. I mean, I think publishing a book is one thing, but also we can present and show posters and things online in other ways as well. Vinaya, carry on. Sorry.
So another question is that is there any will you continue this mentoring or will you stop? This is the question from the debate. So already we have planned to continue this one into the second cycle. Second cycle means these teacher researchers will find the one new teacher. So this time these will become mentor, and they will find the new teacher to take up the classroom based. So this is the second cycle. We are planning that also.
That's fantastic. Can I comment briefly? That I mean, this is one very interesting thing. We had the British Council programs for champion teachers and for ARMS, but something that's very, very interesting is that many of you from India, because most of you have been from India in the first part today because of the time, and it's late at night in India. It's becoming late anyway. So we had your presentations first. After the break, we'll have others from elsewhere in the world. But it seems like out of ARMS, a lot of people have continued in a voluntary way, and people who were teacher researchers becoming mentors is a very good development, and it's the way that we can spread teacher research, I think. Thank you, Vinaya. How about Manjusha and Jayashri? Jayashri?
Hello.
Manjusha? Hello.
Participants were asking us about the activeness and inactiveness of the teachers. In our group, there are primary, secondary, and higher secondary teachers. That means our group is mixed. And primary teachers and secondary teachers are very active. but we are not receiving so much responses from the higher secondary teachers. So Jayashree shared her experience and challenges in her working. So participants asked us the question regarding this, and also about the Jayashree mentioned in her presentation about the teachers became more creative. At which sense she is saying this. So Jayashree, please, are you here?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Ruben asked that what do you mean when you say that the teachers became more creative? So I experienced that many of them, they had certain what you can say, not prejudice, but some preconceptions in their minds that my students are not speaking because they lack speaking skills, or they don't read because they lack reading skills. And when we started this exploratory research, and right from the the state of framing the research question, and they started understanding what they have to do exactly, and then they really became more creative, that what can they do to make their students read properly or speak properly. And I said that in this sense they became more creative. Another question was that the teacher in my group, Shweta Patil, she goes to ashram shala, that is tribal students come there and they stay over there for the whole year, academic year, and their the dialect they speak is different, and the teacher's language is different, and they learn a different language. So how you managed all this while doing the research? And I answered that then Shweta we had to discuss a lot, and she had to find out some situations which are common to the teacher and to the students, and the students means they could get the exposure to the outer world. And one more, the main topic that we discussed was about the as I said, that I was really discouraged because there was not I did not get a good response from the higher secondary student teachers, and we tried to understand that what can be the reason for this. The thing is that what I understood, that many of them, they said that what's the incentive over here for us. That's then I felt that we do the research, and we are trying to search something and learn something, that itself is the great incentive. But many of them, they did not, they wanted some, I mean, if this what we do, if it is collaborated with the state government, and if we are getting at least a promotion or some monetary benefit, that will be better. That is what answer I got.
Thanks, Jayashree. Yes, actually, that's a very interesting point. How can we integrate what we do, which is quite a bottom-up process, I think. We're encouraging teachers to take charge of their development themselves through what we do with teachers, but how can that be integrated with, or spread, I suppose, without losing the voluntary nature of this, because we don't necessarily want it to become compulsory, because then it becomes, we know, it becomes a kind of just on paper exercise, not something that is intrinsically motivating. So it's an issue. It's one of these questions that we are exploring, and we don't have the solution, but it's an interesting area. Finally, thank you, Jayashree and Manjusha. And finally, Vanita and Anna, what came up for you?
Okay, so we had interesting questions with respect to our co-mentoring experience, since we come from different countries, we work in different contexts. So the specific questions focused on you are two different personalities coming from different countries. So what were some of the key takeaways, your key learnings from each other, professionally as well as personally? And there were questions on some of the specific challenges, that we faced, especially in supporting the teachers who were working in different backgrounds and coming from different setups.
Yes. Thanks, Vanita. Do you want to say anything, Anna? Anything more?
No, just also to say that the relationships develop over time. And as time goes on, it has become better and better.
And
you paired us up.
Because all teachers,
thanks to you.
Because
so
everybody,
thanks to you for
yeah,
pairing us
everybody
up.
was
Yeah.
interested. Who got you together? You know, so we said all credit goes to Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the matchmaker.
Yes, you were the matchmaker.
Well, I realized I do like to organize parties, events, and I like to bring people together, I guess. So that's actually a nice way to end the first half, because I think during the pandemic, of course, with all the problems that we've had, nevertheless, it has brought people together in interesting new ways, and I think that's I think I speak for all of the members of the group that has met every month, that we've started to feel very close to each other in sharing experiences. It was a nice way to end the first session, and we're going to have a break now for 10 minutes. And of course, we understand if you can't stay. It is quite late in India, for example, and Nepal and other places to the east. China, we have some friends from China here as well. It's quite late at night or early in the morning. But if you can stay, we'd be very happy if you can. And we've got some really exciting, interesting presentations to come in the second session. So the second session will start in 10 minutes. Until then, we'll just have a break, and I'll just share the screen, which is a reminder of the program and a reminder of the questionnaire. If you do have to go, please fill out the questionnaire. But all of you, as you are here, you might wish to. We'd like you to fill out the questionnaire if you don't mind. 10 minutes break, and we'll see you soon for the second half. And well done to all of you, all of the mentors who presented in the first half.
Thank you, Richard.
Oh, Sydney, yes. Sorry, let me just get my headphones.
I'm ready.
Hi,
Is the
Sydney.
audio fine? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Okay, fine.
So we're going to go ahead with the second session.
All right.
And we're going to start off with Sydney. So let me just share the program again. And you're based in Spain, Sydney.
Yeah.
Originally not from Spain, I guess.
Well, I was born in Australia. My parents are from here, Spain.
Are they?
So,
okay. Yeah. So you're back home in a sense. Yeah.
In a sense, yeah. Whatever home is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Home is where the heart is.
Yeah,
Go
that's right. Exactly. Yeah. Right, I just want to share with you my experience with organizing kind of workshops where teachers can share ideas. And in the program, it says something like, I invented this word, the ESPG concept, okay? Exploring, sharing, providing feedback, and growing professionally. And it's just creating the space for teachers to get together and share ideas with one of his main objective is to increase group cohesion. And you have two examples on my little poster, which is a Google Doc. The first example was last year, assessment beyond online questionnaires. It wasn't only me organizing the event, it was together with two other colleagues. And the concept of the whole workshop was to throw in a challenge, and then teachers will look for an answer, a solution to the challenge, to the problem. The first problem was, or the challenge was, how can you assess online? I mean, we work in a face-to-face school, so the challenge was to pivot from face-to-face to online setting. So that was a challenge. So many of the tools assessing in a face-to-face context didn't really work in an online context. So what we did is, okay, let's get together and see how we all manage to come up with tools to use in an online assessment task, for example. So it was, we designed the course into 5 sessions, and then teachers would present their solution to a problem individually. And we did that in an online context setting. It was a Zoom platform. And they had 15 minutes to present their findings, share it, questions, question time, and that's it. It was pretty quick. But I mean, the main goal was to build a sense of community. And the takeaways, as you can see in the last column, is it was a confidence booster for teachers. Teachers saw that other teachers had the same problems. Other teachers used research tools to find solutions, even though some of them didn't know they were doing research or exploratory action research. They were actually doing it. And that's what myself told them right at the end. Okay, guys, you did this and you did that, and all this is also contemplated in exploratory action research. So you were actually doing research, teacher research. So they were quite shocked about it anyway. This year, that was last year. So this year we had a second challenge, which is teaching learning strategies. Together with another colleague, Elena Perez, we threw that challenge. How can we help teachers to improve the students' learning strategies? Okay, and it was the same method, but this time, instead of finding a solution individually, they would work in groups. Okay, so everything is more or less the same, but it was more group work. And with the same objective, increasing group cohesion, especially in these times of COVID-19 where people need each other to survive. So we were just creating the space for this to happen. And we also opened up the possibility for other schools around the area to join us. And we managed to draw in a school nearby, a city nearby. It's a similar school, a language school. And we haven't finished the course, so we're right in the middle of it. And I think the results are pretty promising, and especially in terms of cohesion. I mean, we need each other. Yeah. We need to share our worries, our successes, etc. And that translates into group cohesion.
Thanks, Sidney. That's really interesting, and it's kind of small scale, developing a space for collaboration, and the teachers didn't even know they were doing research, but
You're right.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Let's you can talk with Sidney, of course, more about that, and later on in the breakout rooms. But let's move on to let's go even further westwards towards Peru. Jimmy, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hi Jimmy. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am Jimmy Riojas. Well, I am from Peru. Well, this is my picture when I started my exploratory action research in the champion teachers in Peru. Well, that is how I started the path in researching. So now I am Well, I am a mentor. Can you go to the next slide, please? Yes.
Yep.
Scroll. Thank you. Yeah. Well, my contest is I mentoring teacher from State University. They are a English teacher and also in a pedagogical institute where there is kindergarten teacher and primary teachers now and during this pandemic. So let's go to the next slide, please. And I started with my research question. This is, how can I support a teacher in their research? I use some resources. You can see there is some WhatsApp, Google and Palette, and also I reflect, I evaluate. How can I provide constructive feedback to my mentee teachers? And also that is my first time I mentoring, and I like of mentoring and also empower teacher development, because some teachers, how can they use the methods, the strategies for when they are teaching, and the most important is how motivate and sustain good rapport, good communication with teacher to finish this research. Go to the next slide, please. And well, so I set up an action plan. How I support a teacher on their, when they are analyze the data. So I apply for a genre-based approach on the writing. As a teacher, as a mentor, I model, I showed my research, how they can write, how can they analyze, and also teacher interested in investigate their own practice and engage teacher in research and finish their research. So I based on the book for the Dr. Mark Waite. What a change for this research? For me was the change is when the teacher is the positive personal and professional impact of research. Well, that is the book for Dr. Richard, and also how can empower teachers and reflect when they are teaching, when they are using the strategies, their method, and also they end their research. Most of the teacher, yes, they finish their research. And also an equal relationship between a teacher and a mentor. Well, that is I guide with this book from Dr. Richard in the 2020 book for mentoring. And well, it was the change for me. It was a rewarding experience for supporting teacher and reinforcing in their research. Well, that is my poster. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any question about my research, well, you can join the break groups. Thank you so much, and that is my good.
Okay, so thanks so much, Jimmy. Thank you. And so you kind of reflected on your experience and researching your experience of becoming a mentor, really, becoming a mentor of teacher research, and that's really interesting. You can talk to Jimmy more, of course, in the breakout room. Next we go to just one second. So next.
Hello, good evening.
Okay, I think that's okay. Next we go to Nala. Nala, are you there?
I'm here. Thank you, Rich.
Okay, mentoring teacher research, developing research practices in a teacher education college in Israel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good evening, wherever you are around the world. I'm Nahla, and I'm an instructor at the Arab Academic College in Haifa, Israel. There's a lot of background noise. Could you...
I think it's better now, Nala. I think it's okay now. Yeah.
Okay, so I mentored English pre-service and in-service teachers in a course called Didactic Seminar in Teaching English. Now, the aim of this course was basically to mentor the participants to conduct research related to the field of English language teaching in their teaching context. Now, the main aim of my presentation today is to focus on the process that my mentees went through to produce their research. And first, because the participants are pre-service and beginner teachers, I decided to cover a wide range of topics to raise their awareness of these topics, and also to get them thinking about problematic or weak areas in the field of teaching English, and the changes they would like to make in their teaching practices, so they can really bring about improvement in the way English is taught. So for example, we discussed 21st century skills, ICT tools and their application. We also discussed learner-centered methods such as problem and project-based learning. Then the mentees worked in groups to think of research questions related to the problems they were interested in solving. So for example, one of the groups wanted to address the lack of collaborative activities in teaching English to junior high students. So the next step for them was to think of activities that they can implement to help solve the problem, which they created while taking into account also that their students are learning on Zoom, and the application of the activities will also be in Zoom. And it is worth noting that while some of my participants chose to implement their ideas to check for change, others focused on exploring the nature of the problem first by exploring teacher or student perception before actually implementing these activities. And this was then followed by discussions and readings about data collection methods. And the mentees posted their data collection instruments on Moodle for peer and instructor feedback. And this was followed by sessions for data analysis and coding, as described by Richard in his book about mentoring teachers. The sessions were quite hands-on and practical because they really included transitioning from controlled practice with small segments of data, and then the participants moved to breakout rooms on Zoom to practice coding with larger segments of data. And the following sessions really discussed how to organize the data into themes, how to present evidence from the data analysis process, and also report their findings and conclusions in their seminar papers. Now, mentoring has really helped me develop my skills in supporting our students at college. It also paved the way for changes that I've made with our future cohorts of students. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening to me. And a really special thank you to Richard for mentoring us to mentor our teachers. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Nala. And it looks interesting to talk with Nala, I think, also about the experiences, mentoring experience and plans for the future, all that as well. And she's got a very good poster here. So you can talk with Nala a bit later. Thanks, Nala. And glad to hear about all of that. So let's just go on straight on to the next one, which would be Mayamin in Qatar. Are you there, Mayamin?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great.
Good evening to all from Qatar. Thank you for giving me this space to talk about what I'm going through with my teachers in Iraq. Talking about complex and talking about different circumstances. Iraq, my teachers, a lot of them were born in 1980s. So they were born in the era of war. They came out of a war in 1980s, then went into another war in 1995. Then went into another war, 2003, and then came out from that war to the ISIS. 2014, the conflict started to get worse and worse, and there was no help from anybody, from no organizations, or not even the government or the Ministry of Education. So looking for space, a safe space for my teachers to come and talk about what they're going through in their classroom. The place that I found after speaking to a lot of people was the Handbook project. And when I was talking about my homebrew project, I met Richard, and Richard was saying about action research and mentoring. So I thought, okay, this is something that I would like to explore and make my teachers have a space or a safe space to talk about what they're going through in their classrooms. So the only way I could get in contact with my teachers was when I went in the summer, I saw them face to face, and we went and set up a WhatsApp group and Zoom groups. So what we would do is we would meet up on a weekly basis every Saturday, and we discuss pages from the book that the British Council and that which Richard has written. And I'd take parts of it, and then some of it I would translate it into Arabic, because they are English language teachers, but they are very weak when it comes to English language. So it translates part of it, and I'll give it to my teachers, and we would talk about it. And then they would go into their own space, and they would think about what problems they would face in the classrooms. Then we'd come back the week after, or a monthly process later on. And because the schools did not start until last week in Iraq because of COVID-19. So they started to think of their problems, and they came out with a lot of problems. And I started to tell them, please, we just want one problem at a time. Then they started to think of the problems that they really wanted to explore and talk about in that safe space that was on Zoom or on our WhatsApp group. Then we started to exchange ideas. Teachers would give ideas to each other. And then if you can see here with Jassim's presentation that he will be presenting hopefully in December, one of my mentors. So we've got 5 of them. So one of them was talking about how the exams are stressing these students, what they're going through, and another presentation from other teachers talking about having 50 students in the classroom. Some of them were talking about how their mental health is a big problem they're facing in Iraq. So the only place that, like I said, they would come and explore what they were going through as teachers and talk about not only the problems they were facing in the classroom, but their mental health, was to talk about it on our WhatsApp group. Going through the book and exploring research and action research was an eye-opener for them. And they were thirsty for knowledge, as they did not have any CPD since 1995. The development was zero in Iraq. So that has opened a space for these teachers to go and read and explore their knowledge and try to understand what the teachers are doing. They started to think about how they would face these challenges that they had in the classroom, and how would they come across these challenges, and what would they do to stop these challenges. And again, we are still in phase 2 of our action research. I think that's 4 minutes and 30 seconds. That's enough for me. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Maimin. That's really impressive, what you've been doing with your teachers there. And actually, so you're just under 4 minutes. So well done. Really impressive, and I'm sure lots of people want to talk to you about it. So yeah, thanks, Maimin, just to see you there on the screen. And let's go to the next one, which will be, let's just check, it will be, Ruben and Mariana. Now in this case, I'm going to stop sharing, because I think Mariana has work to do today. She can't help not being here. But I think together with Ruben, they have recorded a presentation for us, and yes, we're able to share that with you. Are you going to? Yeah.
Hello. Can you hear me, Richard?
Yes, I can. Yes. We can hear you. You're going to share the presentation, and we're going to watch it on the screen. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, hello everyone, and thanks for this invitation to present in this mentoring teacher research event in a time of COVID-19. Together with Mariana Serra, we are presenting our mentoring experience, and I would like to thank Dr. Richard Smith for guiding us in the international group of mentors during the year, and also to the IATF Research SIG, and special thanks to our mentees for their enthusiasm and commitment with the exploratory research processes. Our context was, our mentoring was at the University of Buenos Aires, the School of Psychology, in the English for Academic and Specific Purposes course and academic literacies. And our motivation basically was to invite teachers to become teacher researchers themselves, together with coordinators. I had an internal role as a mentor because I am the main coordinator of the course. And Mariana had an external role as a co-mentor that in a minute she's going to tell us. But before that, I would like to tell you a bit about our two teams of mentees. One was formed by two teachers teaching online because of COVID-19 in the university campus, and also another group with one teacher and two teacher coordinators and material designers. So Mariana, share a bit about your role as a co-mentor, please.
Yes, thank you, Ruben. Yes, I was an external mentor because I do not belong to the university staff, and a co-mentor with you. And our roles were different, but they complemented each other, yes, through dialogic mediation, when we discussed different aspects about the context and mentees' tasks, through different resources. I would like to point out the importance of our mentors journal. It was a shared doc. We shared it with our mentees. It was always visible and they could see all our dialogues. What about your research questions, Ruben?
Well, my research questions were basically focused on teachers' engagement in exploratory action research and how their explorations could have an impact on students' learning. Yes. And what about yours, Mariana?
Yes, one of them was about the way online co-mentoring has an impact on the professional development of you as a mentor and of our mentees, and on how my role contributes to the whole program. What about your findings?
Well, mine were in the line of mentees' engagement in this type of research. Also, they need to differentiate mentoring in the case of teachers and coordinators, in fact, to see if that is necessary. And one of the most important findings also was the key role of the co-mentor, that is you, Mariana, as an external observer. Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you very much. As regards my findings, my role helped you to clarify your role as the head of the course, and also as regards your reflection on your own practices. Ruben, I would like to invite our audience to join us in breakout rooms to learn more about our exciting and valuable research study. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you and everyone.
Okay, I say thank you personally now.
Yes, Ruben, you are here, so that's good. And Ruben can be with you in the breakout room to discuss their interesting research project. See, they've set it up as a bit of exploratory action research or exploratory research into mentoring. That's very interesting. And again, we had an example of co-mentoring here, like we did earlier with Anna and Vanita. And we've got another one coming up, which will be the last presentation. Again, this involves Mariana as well, and Mariana can't be here, so they recorded this together with Seden, and Seden is here, but we're going to hear the presentation so that Mariana can take part, and it will be about enhancement mentoring, which I introduced very briefly right at the beginning, and this I'm looking forward to hearing from you both. Can we play this now? Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our poster presentation with my partner, Mariana Serra from Argentina. My name is Edan Eralde Mertuya. from Turkey. Before we start, we would like to thank to Richard Smith and Aslı Sağlam for their invitation for us to join this online event. We also want to thank to IEEE Research League and our beloved participants for their active involvement. So let me start talking about the story of our enhancement mentoring approach. Our approach was born in the summer of 2019 when Richard Smith invited us to become a team together with Ellie Bakes, myself and Mariana Serra, and together we developed this approach as a response to COVID-19. And our approach focuses on teachers' achievements arising from their experience. Mariana?
That's all right, Sedan. Thank you very much. We were so successful during that experience that we wanted to transfer our own success on enhancement mentoring with a teacher trainer and trainers in a government school context in Turkey. We wanted them to implement exploratory action research in their own classrooms, but this time based on one of their previous successful experiences. So then,
and obviously we collected data throughout the process, and we found that our participants enjoyed their sense of unity and their mutual understanding among themselves, and they enjoyed their our relaxing sessions with them. They found out about their successes, they realized their successes, and they started making new plans for their future successes. We found that they felt really enthusiastic for their professional growth. The only thing we found negative was their shallow reflections, and to overcome that challenge, we tried to improve our reflection template for the second stage. Ariana?
That's all right. During our second stage, we implemented 3 different reflection templates, and we also interviewed our mentees. Among our most important findings, we would like to share with you the fact that our mentees were able to identify and to expand and to transfer one of their previous successful experiences to a new context after having participated actively in our enhancement mentoring program, then raised awareness of professional strengths and weaknesses, increased agency and efficacy when handling, when overcoming challenges after having participated in our scheme. We would like to thank you for your attention, and also to invite you to our breakout room to ask us your questions, and also questions on the impact our cultural background had on our project and what we gained as mentors. Thank you very much for your attention.
See you in the breakout rooms, audience. Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Sedan.
Hello,
And
everyone.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, Mariana couldn't be with us today here.
Mariana Serra from Argentina. My name is
can
Eral de Lucia.
stop. Yeah, right. Okay, there are 2 of you now. So there's 2 Sedans. The real Sedan is speaking now. So hi Sedan, you're with us. That's good.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, unfortunately, Mariana couldn't be with us, so I'll be in the breakout room, and I will be happy to answer your questions.
Yeah. So
thank you.
So thank you. So we've come to the we've had all of the 6 different taster presentations. You know that you can see the posters, and there's some very rich posters and information in the posters by looking at the program, and the program is in the I put into the chat. It's that you can see the program. I suggest that you look at the program, and we're going to just go into some breakout rooms again, where you can interact with the presenters. So there you are. If you haven't got the program, if you've joined us, I think some of you have joined us recently. We just had some short presentations for the second half, and we're going to now go into breakout rooms to interact with the presenters. And you are going to ask them questions. You are going to make comments, and it's a good idea if everybody can switch on your cameras so that in the breakout room, so that you can interact. And we have about 30 minutes, and you can move from switch off microphone, but switch them on when you're speaking, of course. You can move from room to room freely. Asta will show you the breakout rooms in a second. You'll see the breakout rooms by clicking on that icon, the breakout rooms icon, in a minute at the bottom of your screen. But
yeah, they're on. Breakout rooms are open now. You can you can click and go there.
Yeah, please go freely to wherever you want to go, and move from room to room. We will call you back here in 30 minutes. Please have a good interaction with the mentors. Enjoy yourselves. You can go and click on breakout rooms, and you'll see the list. The names of the presenters are at the bottom, and you just go to the right of the name of the presenter, and where there is number, and you join, and you can move. And we will stay here to help you.
Hi, Sri, I'm still out. I'm not in a breakout room.
Hi, Maiman.
Hi.
Which one would you like to go to?
I think I'm the presenter. I should be in a breakout room on my own, I think, with others.
No, you need to go
Mayamin, you can choose your breakout room. So just go to breakout room icon, click on it.
I can't see it.
Can you
even I can't see the breakout room icon.
Well, it can be in more. So reactions, right next to reactions, there's a 3 dot, more.
That's
when
right.
Click, yeah. Could you find it?
Do I join the breakout room, or do I have my own breakout room?
Join your own breakout room.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Your name is there, Maimin.
Yes, I can see it now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you all see how to go to a breakout room now? Oh, switch. Stop. Great. Welcome back, everyone, as you come back. And gradually. I hope you had a good. Hi, Nala. I hope it was good for you. Was it? Did you have some good interaction?
Yes, really good.
Yeah.
Everyone here really shows genuine interest in what we're doing, and I really love it because. And they've also asked me questions, for example, like, "Oh, you might want to do that, right? Are you gonna?"
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much in case there is a part 2 to this.
Yeah, there will be.
Okay, then I'll wait for my turn.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So welcome back, everyone. I think everyone's back now, and I hope you had some good interactions with the mentors. So I'm going to just do the same thing as before, which is ask each mentor for some reflections as to what you've learned from the experience. We'll start with Sydney. Are you there?
Yeah.
Hi, Sydney.
Yeah. Hello. Really positive experience. Yeah.
Oh, good.
I really like the fact that you present everything in 3 minutes, 3-minute presentation or 4.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
And then in the breakout rooms, you can just share your ideas, and they ask questions. You can develop on the answers, and you can provide feedback as well. They give you feedback too. I mean, I've been given references to check up, like from Anaratia Stone. Yeah, like look this article. You've been doing something that you haven't realized you've been doing it, and here's some theoretical background to it. Yeah, so excellent. Yeah, it was great. And you can't do that in a communication context, in an oral presentation, 30 minutes in the Congress. This is far better.
Yeah. Well, I always thought, why do we talk about learner-centeredness and being, learner autonomy, but our conferences stay the same. Our conferences are like really, really teacher-centered.
Right.
And that's why we started innovating like this. And with the teachers research conferences in Turkey and then in Chile and Argentina, and then we're trying hard to think how can we do that also on Zoom, because Zoom also tends to be rather presenter-centered, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So we came up with this idea, and we're happy with it. So
excellent.
Far.
Yeah.
Great.
Perfect.
Great. And this is what we're going to be doing for the conference of the teachers research again, teachers research conference in. Maybe at the end we could share the link in case you don't know about that. It's a final event of the festival, and we usually say 3 minutes. I'm very strict with 3 minutes, but so many of people said no, 4 minutes. 4 minutes. So we gave you 4 minutes. I think 4 was okay, wasn't it? It was all right.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
We just don't want to turn into a full presentation. But you were all very good at keeping the time limit, especially with my alarm going in the background. Thank you, Sydney. So, who's next? You come forward. The other mentors. I think it was Jimmy, wasn't it? How was you? Did you learn anything from this, Jimmy?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for the feedback that you bring me on the breakout rooms. Maybe what is the challenge? What is the difference for the next mentoring? They asked me. Well, one is the face-to-face research, because now this research was on online. But the different about that is on face-to-face, mentoring face-to-face teachers. Yeah, and also one is, maybe it could be only for blended. Yes, face-to-face and online, that is one thing. And also it's about the, one teacher show about the feelings. Yes, when they are present their presentation, they forgot everything, all. Yeah, because this is normal. Yes, feel some teacher, they feel nervous, not confident, or you are in black. Yeah, that is a process. Yes, one thing. Well, yeah, and also how can you engage teacher, motivate, and also teacher to finish their research. That is one thing. How can, as a mentor, you engage teachers, motivate to finish their research? Maybe in my case, this is different because I research teachers and it is part of the curriculum they finish their research for their thesis, or it's part of the curriculum at university. This is mandatory to finish the research. It's different when I have a different groups of teachers, or maybe they are overwhelming, they are busy. Yeah, this is totally different. But in my case, yeah, it was different because the teacher, they have to done the research for graduate, or it's part of the curriculum. Yes. Yeah, that is my context.
Yeah, this is something, of course, some of us are doing it in pre-service teacher education, teacher training, like Nala, for example. Some of us are doing it as part of kind of compulsory in-service training, like Ravi, maybe Jimmy, maybe that's the case, I'm not sure. But the others are doing it, well, we're just asking for volunteers. And these differences, or it's interesting, isn't it? How do teachers react if they are told they have to do something, as opposed to, and student teachers, for example, do they continue to do it after they become teachers? Well, in my experience, they didn't really continue. So that's an issue. That's a problem. Nala, maybe for you to investigate, Nala, as well. Okay. Yeah. Thanks very much, Jimmy. And so these are all issues, again, questions for us to go forward, continue to think about, because this is not the end of our community. We've just been building our community. I think Nala, you're next, if you'd like to share some reflections.
Thanks, Richard. As I was saying before, this is a really, really great opportunity for me to engage with everyone here. And I did say everyone showed great interest in what we're doing as mentors. And one of the main questions I've been asked is, what are the challenges you faced? And these are connected basically to two areas, which are data collection and data analysis. And with the data collection, I felt that my participants, some of them are pre-service, some of them in service, or they're all kind of new teachers in the field. And I felt their main challenges with data collection is they were interested in topics, but they couldn't really find resources to apply these. So many of them were interested in ICT and its application and how we, for example, improve our students' skills using ICT, but they couldn't find any way to apply that in the field. So we had to think of alternatives and what to have students do at home and so on. The second area, which was a challenge, was the data analysis. And I felt teachers need a lot of support with the data analysis procedure. And that's what I spent quite a few sessions doing, starting from the very, very controlled practice and then sending them off to do their own analysis in groups and report back. But all in all, I really, really appreciate this experience. It got me thinking about also what to do in the future. So for example, people mentioned a lot of peer feedback. And that's something I want to do in the future, to do more peer feedback, not only in the, I did that more in the data collection stage and so on. I'd like to do it more in different stages. So this was also an opportunity for me to learn from others what they do and perhaps take from their ideas and apply it in my own context. So thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Nala. Yeah, we can all learn from each other, and that's a main point of the community that we're building, because the handbook maybe that I wrote is one person, that's me, their experience, but we all from different contexts, all very creative. We're all developing new and different ways of facilitating teacher research, and so like I learned just briefly from talking to you, Nala, about data analysis using qualitative data analysis using fruit and vegetables, to asking students to sort them into categories. That's a really great idea. And also, but I thought also you are doing kind of you're involving the groups in doing things together, and peer coaching, peer mentoring. That's a really useful idea, I think. I've been doing that. Some of my students are here today, Jana Toul and Jean. And they know that I've been encouraging peer coaching in my classes recently. Great, thanks, Nala. Next would be Mariana and Ruben from Argentina. Go ahead.
Yes, well, it was. I have to thank the teachers, the colleagues who visited the breakout room, because they helped me a lot with their questions. Me and Mariana, then I will share this with Mariana as well, because they ask questions in relation to, well, to different aspects of my mentoring and the mentees' work. But in fact, I took some notes, of what they ask about in relation, for example, to the interactions between mentor and co-mentor. Also, yes, our roles. Yes, I mentioned, as you mentioned, Richard, that Mariana was my critical friend. Yes, because she guided me to reflect and to inquire further on my mentoring process. And she could see aspects that I could not see, perhaps, as an internal mentor. Also, another aspect that they asked about was about CPD, continuing professional development, if mentees could see, or if I could notice that mentees experience the exploratory action research as a form of professional development. And I said, yes, definitely. Okay. And also another question was related to differentiated mentoring. That is, if you mentor teachers who are with students themselves, and teachers who are not teaching directly, but are, for example, coordinators or material designers. So in what way this mentoring could be similar or different? This is an area to explore further, yes? And could be interesting, I think, in my opinion. And another question was about, well, our plans for the future, especially considering, and this is something I mentioned, that probably next year, we are starting classes again in March at university. We certainly go back face to face. So in what way, if mentees continue their research next year in the physical classroom, in what way the results could be similar or different to what they have been doing online? Yes. So I think there could be some differences, well, but this is another area also to explore. So good questions for me and for Mariana, because, and then for our mentees as well, because they help us to reflect, yes, on all these aspects and to continue exploring, yeah. So thank you. And thank you for this experience. I think the meeting in the breakout room and listening and observing the posters before, for me, was a rich experience. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Ruben. And so great. And hi to Marianne if she's watching the video later. We missed you, as Pablo said in the chat. We did miss you, but we are here in spirit. And so it's very interesting, you know, I think, because you are taking this research approach, researching your practice, and I think that is something we can all move into. You know, we ask our teachers to do research, so researching our mentoring experience is going to be very useful for others to learn, just as sharing now, but in a more systematic way is a challenge for all of us for the future. And as you're raising, so issues like you've mentioned, Ruben, can come up and can then be researched. You know, just as with teachers, they have problems, issues, successes as well. We can turn those into questions and then actually investigate them as we go forward. And Sedan, would you like to say what, again with Mariana, but go on, over to you, Sedan. I can't hear you.
Well,
Yeah,
okay, there was something on my screen, I just got rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I realized that I've been co-mentoring a group of teachers since June, and I felt that I missed my Mariana in the breakout room. We have been together for so long, so we really enjoyed mentoring together to a group of Turkish teachers, and try to overcome some challenges, especially regarding the time zone planning, and you know, just to motivate our participants attending our sessions despite the summer holiday in Turkey. You know, we kept on with 6 volunteer teachers, and our people who visited me in the breakout rooms asked about the challenges, and I told them about them. And what else? About the cultural competence, or the things we have exchanged with Mariana. Well, the emotional support and the technical support, organizational support. Well, this is not an advertisement, but I can highly recommend co-mentoring to all of you. It's an amazing experience because you have the chance to learn about another culture. You know, it is the home environment. You know, her child interferes, my background interferes. Then we talk about differences of the two cultures and how we perceive things when certain things happen in some way. We had so many fruitful discussions regarding culture. Mariana asked me, for example, can they misunderstand me if I say like that? You know, I shared my insight and I asked her about her own culture. Well, it was amazing to co-mentor our teachers together. And Jean visited the room. He asked about again how to motivate mentors, how to sustain their motivation. We talked about that. Ravi asked about reflection. Finally, I should say that. This is an obstacle, as you know. When you ask the teachers to reflect on their learning, they come up with describing what has happened. So I think we need to develop some more reflective templates to help them reflect more and learn more about their experiences. Thank you so much. And Ellie was in the room. We just talked about how our enhancement mentoring approach was born and how we enjoyed just working on our approach as a team. Thank you, Richard, and everyone.
Thanks, Seden. For me too, during the first time period of pandemic, we met often with Seden and Ellie and Mariana to think about mentoring and enhancement mentoring, and that was quite important for me in the pandemic time, as a way of feeling in touch with people. So I think, as I said earlier, we are in touch with each other across different countries, and we have a good network now, good community. And so things like co-mentoring, even as we saw with Anna and Vanita earlier, across countries, it's quite an interesting experience. But culturally, and as Anna said, it kind of goes against the idea of local mentoring being best. On the other hand, it can provide new perspectives and intercultural experiences. And I know that, for example,
Very enriching. Yeah.
Yes, I know in Maharashtra with Manjusha, Jayashree, they've invited Ruben, Mariana, for example, to talk to their teachers. And this has been happening because of the pandemic, I think, more than before. So it's something, again, that we can feel we have achieved and can build on for the future, despite because of the difficulties that we have been having. And I suppose that, that Jean's questions, I was there when he was asking about why would teachers do teacher research at all when they're so burdened with problems, and he knows well from Rwanda, the teachers are very burdened with large classes and not low pay. we all can agree with that. Too many classes, and especially during the pandemic, more burdens. Why would we do any teacher research at all on top of that? And this was exactly the kind of question I was asking myself during 2020, and I started to share with Ellie and Seden and Mariana. We started to think, well, maybe we could do it, but we could focus on achievements rather than problems, instead of going deeper and deeper into the problems. But maybe, anyway, that's what we thought. But 2021 has showed us that actually that it is beneficial for teachers. I think that's what we are learning. When they can be motivated to start, and to, if you can motivate them to get into it. And one way to motivate them is to show examples from other teachers who have benefited, I think. But anyway, that is an issue that's come up today. How can you motivate teachers to do teacher research? Why do it? Why do we do it? Well, because we know that there's potentially benefits for teachers. Why do we mentor teachers? Why are we mentoring teachers to do teacher research is another good question. You're spending a lot of time, extra time, to do that, and I hope benefiting yourselves from it as well. And I think that's what we've been exploring too. Anyway, this idea, this point about motivation, teachers' motivation, our own motivation, is an important issue to further explore. And I think that's come up today. That there are questions and issues that are worth exploring. It's definitely worth keeping in touch with each other in order to do that. And so the community that we've built, I think, is going to continue. There are more people now coming in who are very welcome to join this community of teacher research mentors, mentoring. Whether you have done it before or not doesn't matter, because we've got mentors who had never done teacher research even. Maybe they had, but then they were exploring how to become a mentor from a very beginning point. And we hear today from some of them how they've been taking their first steps into mentoring. So it's in that sense, I think it is a community of practice with sort of peripheral participation and coming into developing more participation. We want to welcome everybody, really. So yes, this is turning into my final words. The last part of the program, and so just really to encourage all of you who are interested to keep in touch. There will be more things going on, I'm sure. The Facebook group, the link I left, perhaps in the chat, the Facebook group might be, probably the best way to start participating, just because you'll get information there if we are doing anything new. And we are going to do the Evo again with Seden. We've just got permission to do that. I think. I'm pretty sure we will, in January and February. And that's how a lot of this, what we've heard today, started back in 2020, January, February. In January, February again, we will be doing that. And I think, I know that Ruben and Mariana will do an Evo for teachers as well. So again, we'll be giving information about that in the Facebook group. And it will be, I think, so then we want it to be for experienced mentors as well as new mentors, just everybody. It'll be a way to continue the community, because that's what Evo is
Exactly.
building a community. It's not a course, really. Although we will
Exactly. And we are a family church in the way I see. Who can say no to us if we invite them to support us in some way or another?
Yeah, but you say family, but that kind of implies that you are grandmother and I'm a grandfather. So I'm not sure about that.
No, not like that. We are all sisters and brothers.
Yeah, it's more like a equal.
It's not something about aging,
No.
Richard. It's about connection.
Yeah,
being connected.
Yeah,
from heart to heart.
And staying young. A way to stay young. Yeah, because we have to realize that we do gain something from mentoring, just as teachers gain from doing teacher research. We gain from mentoring, and we gain from reflecting and talking about mentoring. I hope.
Maybe a win-win strategy.
A win-win strategy. Well, let's hope so. I think it is like that, don't you think? That we give and we get. You give to you do this in a voluntary way. Many of you, most of you, but you get back a lot from the experience.
Cousins.
Great. Well, that's it's been quite a long 3.5 hours if you've been here all this time, but I hope you found it interesting. If and we will put it. Yeah. So Asla, any final words that we'd like to share?
I would like to thank everybody. It has been, very good meeting you online. And tonight I was able to listen to really inspirational stories. Thanks for sharing with us. And thanks for being here tonight. And I'm looking forward to meeting you online in other events, such as in December event. We've shared the link. And keep up inspiring us, basically. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you all, and goodbye. Good night.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.